Well, we've got to the point where the beer has been brewed, and we got it to the carboys, and we let it cool. And what temperature do we let it go to, Kevin?
Room temperature.
Room temperature. Because if we go too soon with the yeast, we want to put the yeast in now, but if it doesn't get to at least in the 70s, mid-70s, the yeast isn't going to be active enough, okay? So what we've got is our yeast that we're going to put into the beer, okay? And all you're going to do is open it, pitch it, swirl a little bit, and that's it. It's about as simple as it gets. It's so simple, even Kevin can do it.
I can do it.
And once the yeast goes in there, we're just going to give it a little bit of a stir, okay? Usually I'll cap it here and just do a little bit of a stir.
I know Carl used his hand in the demonstration. However, we do recommend that you cover the top of the carboy with either a rubber stopper or some cellophane just to keep any contamination from getting into the beer.
And then what we're going to do is take it over to the back and go ahead and put the tube in there and let it start doing its thing.
Great, so now what we've done is we pitched the yeast, and so this is at room temperature, and as you'll recall, keeping everything clean is very important. So what we're going to do, when this yeast starts to become active, the carboy itself will start bubbling inside, and you'll start to see a foam, and it'll start growing, and it'll come up over here, and we'll put, Carl will do this in a second, a plastic tube into this carboy, and then what we'll do is put the tube into the water. That way there's no air getting in here.
Right.
Contaminating the liquids.
And what we call that is an airlock, okay? Once we seal it here and into the water, there's no way for bacteria to get in here. We're airlocking it, okay? So all it is a plastic tube. We're going to put one end into the carboy and the other end into the water. Now, once this thing starts doing its job here and the yeast starts getting very active, it's going to overflow, it's going to start shooting over, and it gets real crazy here. And this water will end up turning a little milky, yellowish, brownish color as all the yeast and all the other stuff starts getting active. But this is the way we secure that there's no bacteria getting into the beer while it's doing its fermentation.
Right. And this process will go on for a number of days, and the length of time really depends upon how much sugar you have from the malts that we use. And of course that translates into the alcohol level.
Next step here, we'll start doing an airlock, which is a little closer lock than this, but right now with this total craziness that goes on, you have to have the tube because it has the blowover. So the next one is a simple airlock, and we'll show you that step next.